Okay then, well I want to make that pretty little mask, pretty little 3D mask you saw at the beginning. So I want 3 pieces of material, 10.5 by 7.5. So one of the outer, whatever you're using for your outer, and then 2 to make up the middle. Now we're going to sew, with mine it doesn't matter, but right sides together. We're going to sew the top edge of this right the way across. And also I wanted to, rather than turn this under, I decided, you know, if it was a special occasion like a christening or a wedding, it may be nice to have a little bit of lace trim on here. So I am just, it doesn't have to be that thick, I could actually fold it in half. Nah, probably too much then, or even cut it in half, but I'm just going to go with it as it is. So I'm just going to lay it so it's just protruding over that raw edge, and I'm going to sew a line of stitching along there. Okay, so far recap, the 2 top edges of the plain white I've sewn 1/4 inch seam and went and pressed it. So there's the pressed seam, yeah, 1/4 inch seam. Doesn't matter which way around. Then I just went and sewed a little bit of lace to the top of that. You don't have to, you could just turn that edge under if you wanted to, but I decided to just sew a little bit of lace to the top of this one. Then we want to turn it over so it's good sides together, but I still want, because I want it to show, I still want that little bit of lace to poke up, yeah? So I am going to put it on, keeping everything straight on the edges. So now this is pretty side down. I need my pins. Come on, pins. Ooh. Some pins. And I'm just going to make sure my sides are straight. Just going to pin that in place so it won't move. Okay. And we can turn it over again. So now we've got, oh, blimmin' hell, stabbed myself. Never mind, I'm going to be cutting that corner off. Hopefully we'll be able to see it. Me and pins, never a good idea. Right, so we need to, first of all, just cut off any excess that you've got hanging over from your top piece on this edge. Can't believe I did that. Never mind. It's all going to go in the wash after cut the wares anyway, isn't it? So then we need to mark 2 inches all around. So 2 inches up from the bottom. Make a mark 2 inches from the side. Make a mark, and we're going to join these dots together. I'm using a washout pen, a what do you call it? Friction pen. Then, exciting bitings, we're going to cut through all 3 layers. We're going to cut those corners off. I need to move my pin now, pin it a bit closer. only got one dot now. There we are. And now, not the top, not this top. We need to do 1/4 inch seam all the way around the exterior. 1/4 inch seam all the way around the exterior, but not the top. Okay, so now we've done that. We'll take the pins out, obviously. Boom, 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 boom. And our next thing is to just clip the corners. So wherever you've got a little bit of a corner, without cutting into your stitches, just clip your corners. It makes it a little bit easier to turn out. As I say, beware your stitches. It's hard to see white on white, isn't it? Right. And then, from the top, which is not sewn, we can turn the whole thing out the other way. So having made that, then turn it over so the inside of the mask is looking at you, and we wish to turn it up where the natural fold is to those corners. Okay, so where that fold is where you want to turn it. Try and keep that nice and straight. And then we'll just put a clip in there and a clip in there, and the same with the top. Turn it, fold it down where those natural corners are, and then we're going to take this to the iron and give it a press. Okay, so it's pressed, and then using an 1/8 of an inch stitch, we're just going to sew on both those folds. Okay, yours should be looking like mine now, yeah, with these edges sewn. Next thing we want to do is fold under 1/2 an inch. I usually do these things by eye, so let me just put a pin on that and see. Where's my 1/2 inch? Oh, a little bit more, but okay, so take it back a bit. Right, so 1/2 inch. As it is, all still folded up. Okay, 1/2 an inch. Naturally, you want to try and get them straight. 1/2 an inch. Yep, that's 1/2 an inch. Yep, that's 1/2 an inch, so that will do me. And now use it again, using an 1/8 of an inch stitch, well, down that original line you can see really, but just stitch that down and go through all the layers, stitch it all the way down like that, and then I'll come back to you. Alright, so now we're looking like this, yeah, and it might look a bit odd to you, but we've got a little bit more sewing to do and then we're done. So if you bring your, let's start with the top, if you bring your top piece up and pull it away from the actual stitching and try and get your corners so it matches up and it looks nice, yeah, then you can lay that piece down and just, oh, done it again, please don't bleed. Oh, it is. And the same with this side. I'll try not to use that finger for a minute. So I managed to get rid of the other blood spot, didn't I? Right. again, you can then just check that that is more or less meeting up. Okay, and the same with the bottom. Bring that out, put your ends together. Where's my ends? Yeah, check that they figure themselves out. And yet again, we need to, well actually I can just put a clip in it, save my poor little fingers. That we just plop a clip in actually. Oh, I'm fed up with this, hurting my fingers. And so what we're going to do then is just sew, just that tiny little bit, just sew that firmly, and sew that, sew this, just, you know, the bits you can see, and sew this to hold it so that when the mask is on your face, it's that shape. Okay? So now we've got a nice pretty mask. We need to cut some elastic. I cut these at 8.5 inches. So to sew these through, you can use a big wool needle. Obviously you can use the round elastic. You can even, I would suggest, reuse the elastic from the paper ones, because you know, at the end of the day, if you're just going to throw it away, why not reuse the elastic? So just pull the elastic through. Excuse my dogs, there's obviously a postman or something at the door. Come on, where's the end of that one? Come on, Mr. Needle. Let's hold on to one end, eh? Right. Let me put on the other. Okay, so now we've got our bits of elastic through, and what we need to do is just tie a knot. Nice tight knot. These are very, very slack elastic I'm using here. And then, I think I'll go from the other end. Then pull our knot around the work and put it into the stitching that we've done so that you can't see it. Yeah? So that's our finished mask. This bit's to go around your ears, obviously. That bit on your face and that bit under your chin. And you've got a nice fitted, pretty mask for a wedding or a christening, or just when you want to be a bit fancy. Now, as you can see in this picture, the green stripy one I made for my dad, and the blue with the buttons on it, I made for myself. And the difference between the bottom one and these two is I decided to skip the last step, which was sewing the outside down, yeah? Because I decided that if I could still fold the 3D effect inside, then I could make it quite neat to put in my handbag or pocket. And having sort of tested it out quite a few times now, I realise that you don't actually need to sew the top and the bottom outwards. So that very last step I omitted, and I just feel that it's just as useful as it is.